Greetings everyone. Today we're going to record our first lecture for C++ playlist, and the lecture would be to take two integers as an input and output them by storing it in another integer. So I would be using VS Code as a platform. You might use any other, such as Dev and other IDEs that are available on the internet. So let's start. We are going to create a new file in a folder which would be named as lecture1.cpp. So this lecture would be about adding two integer values. So we're going to include the IStream file which has all the C++ functions, and then we're going to use the namespace. You can also not use this and use the stds while writing the code, but as a beginner you have to use it for some code clarity. So this basic syntax for C++ is really important, because even if your code is correct and if this above syntax is incorrect or it's missing a single bracket, your code would give error. And in cases where the code is very long, it might take a long time to debug. So we are going to declare three variables, index, y, and z, and we're going to initialize them with the value 0. So as we're going to take integer values, so I have used the data type of int. If you want to use float values, floating type integer, floating type values, or any other values, you need to give the suitable data type for declaring those variables. So now we're going to ask the user to input the first integer, and so we always use cout command with the exertion brackets along with inverted commas to input what would be on the screen, and then take to output what would to output what would be on the screen, and then to take an input of the value we use the cin command with insertion brackets and uh, and input the suitable value. So we're going to take input of the integer x first, and now we're going to ask the user to input the second integer value. So that would be cin y. So now we're going to store the sum into our integer z. So we're going to write it as z is equals to x plus y, and we're going to see out the addition of both integers is z. Yeah, so we're going to return 0, and yeah, that's it. Now our code is saved. So on Visual Studio Code is a shortcut that you need to know for running the code, which is Control Alt and N, and it runs the code. So in our terminal over here, we can see that it is asking to input the first integer, which would be 5. The second would, we can give the value of 7. So the output would be 12. Yeah, so yeah, as you can see, the output is 12. And yeah, that's it for the first tutorial. You could also perform the same operations for subtraction, division, and multiplication by just using different commands. Or for example, if you want to multiply 5 and 7, you would just replace this with the asterisk, and we can replace this line with multiplication, save it, and run it. So now if we input 5 and 7, so our multiplication should give us 35. So it is 5. The second one is 7, so it is 35. Yeah, so C++ is a very beautiful language if you just use it with the right syntax, and as a beginner I would always suggest you to start off with C++ because it helps a lot with logic building. So stay tuned for more videos, and bye from my side.